Hello everyone and welcome to our today's session on the VAT introduction. So from today onwards we are starting the series of the VAT concepts where we are targeting the UK VAT laws, and in UK VAT laws we are covering the in-depth knowledge. We are gaining the in-depth knowledge on the various VAT concepts, and these videos and these sessions would be very useful for the students who are preparing for the education examinations, and who are and also helpful to those person who wants to gain knowledge on the UK VAT system. So these are the series where we would be covering lot of VAT concepts, and we would be covering in detail for those concepts. So our video would not be exceeding 30 minutes. We will keep our video as short as possible, and we will be discussing only one or two concepts in our video. So sometimes in the long video it's very difficult to grasp all the concept in a single video. So we would be picking one or two concepts of the VAT, and we will be discussing in much detail as possible. So I am assuming that this video is meant for the general public. So I am assuming the person who doesn't have the knowledge of VAT. So I'm giving the examples, considering the topics from that perspective only. So I will keep my language in a very simple words, and also I will try to incorporate examples in a very simple language so that one can easily understand the VAT concepts. So now let's begin and start with our today's session on the VAT introduction. So first, to understand that what is the VAT system in UK, how it actually operates. So it is very the first basic thing we need to understand that what is VAT. So VAT is the abbreviated form of value added taxes. So value added taxes, in short, it means VAT. VAT is the indirect tax in nature. So whenever we talk about any tax, so tax this can be classified into two categories. Either that tax is in the direct tax in nature, and the other tax type is the indirect tax in nature. So classification of each of the tax. So whenever we just talk about any taxes, so it can be the income tax, it can be VAT, it can be excise duty or whatsoever. So any tax which we are paying to the authorities, to the government, it can be classified into two categories. Either that tax can be of the direct tax, or that tax can be of the indirect tax. So what we are talking about is the indirect tax in nature. So I'll just quickly brief you that what is the difference between direct tax and the indirect tax. So direct tax are those taxes in which we are paying tax directly to the authorities. So there is no middleman is being involved in that transaction. And the best example of direct tax is the income tax. So income tax is a tax which every person requires to pay to the authorities if their income is exceeding to certain limits, and that tax is directly paid by such person to the authorities. However, if we just talk about the indirect taxes are not directly paying, the person who is paying VAT, or the person who is paying VAT, that person is not directly paying to the authorities. There is a middleman, there is a person who is collecting that tax, which is VAT, from the purchaser, and that person is responsible of paying that tax to the authorities. So direct tax means you are directly paying to the authorities, and the indirect tax means the person who is collecting indirect tax is not the authorities, it is a middleman. So if there is a middleman is being involved, then that tax will become the indirect tax. If there is no middleman, you are paying directly to the authorities, then it is the direct tax in nature. So VAT is basically charged on whenever you procure or you purchase any goods or services. So if you purchase any goods or any services you are purchasing, uh, then you are paying, that particular person who is providing to you that goods or services, that person is called, that person is charging VAT on the value of the goods or services that they provide to you. So the definition of goods or services we will be covering in the subsequent session. But for the introduction purpose, we need to understand that whenever you are procuring any goods or services, you are paying VAT on those goods or services. So now let's see example. I think to understand that how VAT actually works, I think this is one of the easiest example from where you can understand that how the VAT is actually operating in UK. So let's say they are the two persons, that Mrs. A, who like to purchase a television, and she visited to a showroom. Let's say take an example, like in this example we talk about XYZ company. So XYZ company has a showroom, and Mrs. A visited to that showroom and she liked to purchase a television, and she met with person Y, who is a sales representative in the XYZ company. So this, the sale price means the cost of that TV, which at which the XYZ company will sell to Mrs. A, is £1,000. So £1,000 is the cost at which, means we will not talk about the cost. It is a sale price at which XYZ company is ready to pay, ready to give that television to Mrs. A. So now Mrs. A is procuring a goods. Television is categorized under goods, and the standard VAT which is applicable on the television is 20%. So now, if Mrs. A wants to purchase that television, then she is required to pay 1,000, the sale price of the TV, and the 200 of the VAT amount on that particular TV. So the total price, the total sale price that XYZ will charge to Mrs. A is the £1,200. So now £1,200 Mrs. A paid to the XYZ company, and she just purchased that television from that sales showroom. So now let's say example, XYZ company, it's a trader. They are procuring goods from the manufacturer and sell it to the customer. So XYZ company, let's say, purchase this TV unit from the ABC manufacturer, who are manufacturing that television. So they procure that goods from that manufacturer at a cost of £800, and they pay a VAT of 20% to that manufacturer. So the 20% of 800, it's £160, and the total price which ABC manufacturer charged to XYZ company is £960. So now how the VAT actually works. So VAT, if you are the ultimate customer, then you are paying VAT to the whatever you purchase goods or services from the person, and you are a ultimate consumer, means you are not selling that goods or services to any other person. So in that case, you do not have any, you are not collecting any VAT, so there is no point of set off. However, if you are a business unit, which is XYZ company in our example, if you are if XYZ company or any business house is procuring goods or services, and they are selling those goods or services, means services normally we do not sell it, but if we are purchasing any goods and we are selling such goods to the different customers, or it can be to other business houses, in that scenario, so they can adjust whatever they pay input VAT at the time of purchase. So here in this example, XYZ company paid the VAT of £160 when they purchase goods from the ABC manufacturer, and when this such uh, television unit, when they sell it to the ultimate customer, so whatever is the price they are charging and the VAT they are collecting from the customer, they can set off with each other, and the balance amount they are required to pay to the authorities. So in this example you can see 160 pounds is the VAT amount which they pay to the manufacturer, and 200 is the pound is the amount which they collected from Mrs. A. So the net VAT which they required to be paid is 40 pounds. So now if we talk about from the ABC manufacturer perspective, so they have collected 160 pounds of the VAT from ABC, from XYZ company. So ABC is required to pay that 160 pounds to the authorities. So authorities, and they can also adjust if ABC manufacturer pay VAT on the inputs which is required to manufacture that television, then they can also set off that VAT amount against this 160 pounds. So likewise at each of the stage VAT is being collected, and whatever the VAT which is paid at the previous stage, they can adjust it, and that can be paid to the authorities at difference amount. So VAT is also called the stage level taxes. So the person who is procuring the goods and then selling to the other person, and that other person also sell it further to the different customer. So likewise the chain goes on, and at the each stage, whatever the VAT which is collected and whatever the VAT which is paid, both can be set off with each other, and balance amount is paid to the authorities. And if the chain ends at a point when it is sold to the ultimate customer. So here Mrs. A is the let's assume that she is the ultimate customer. She is not selling that goods to any other person. She is consuming or using that goods for own benefits. So Mrs. A would be the ultimate customer. From there onwards there is no further chain of sale. So at that point the sale gets end. So that's how the VAT actually operates, and this is one of the easiest example to understand. So we have we will discuss these topics much in detail as well, but to understand that how VAT system looks like and how it's actually operate, and just to give a fair idea about the VAT system, this is the easiest example which I picked it up. Okay, so moving forward, so we can see the person is collecting VAT from the customers. Now, the very first question which comes to the mind, that who can collect the VAT? So, whoever is selling goods or services, whether they are authorized to collect VAT, whether all person can collect the VAT, the answer is no. The answer is no. Then who can collect the VAT? Only the registered person. So it's not like that whoever sells or sell goods or services to the other person, they are authorized to collect VAT. For example, in our previous example we discussed Mrs. A, that she bought a television from the XYZ company. Now that somehow she is the ultimate customer, and she do not want to use that television, she don't like that television, and she's further selling to some other person. So whether she is authorized to collect VAT from that other person, the answer is no, because only authorized person means, here we call it as the registered person. The person who are registered under VAT system, only those persons are authorized to collect VAT from the customer. So when it comes to the registered person, the very next question that might come into your mind, that what is registered person? So registered person is linked with the registration. So registration means the person who is authorized to collect VAT from the customer. So registration is required. If you want to collect VAT, or you want to take credit of the VAT which you paid at the previous stage, then you have to get registered in VAT system. So when once you get registered, then you will get the VAT registration number, which is called as VAT ID from the UK authorities, and that number is just act as an identification number, which can be used to collect, which can be act as a identification number, and that number can be used to collect VAT system, and this is also be used against if you want to claim any VAT which is paid at the purchased stage. So registration can be of two types. First registration is the voluntary registration, and another registration is mandatory registration. So suppose if you are selling goods or services, so you are in a business house, you are a business house and you are, deals with certain goods or services, and important condition here is to understand that such goods or services should be in the taxable nature. They should not be exempt. Okay, so if you are selling taxable goods or services and your turnover limit is exceed 85,000 pounds, then you are mandatory required to get registered. So this is the threshold limit which authorities set it out. So if your sales value of consolidate sales value of all the invoices, whichever whatever you have raised it, so if it exceeds 85,000, then you are required to get mandatory registration. However, there are instances where the people like to get voluntary registration, so it is not mandatory. It is not like that you cannot get registered until 85,000 pounds. So if you want to get voluntary registration before even crossing that threshold limit, you can voluntarily get registered. So in a nutshell, you need to understand until 85,000 pounds, it is optional to the business house whether to get registered or not. But if you cross the limit of 85,000, then you are required to get registered. So these are the VAT rates, uh, which is currently operating in UK. That is 20%, 5%, or 0%. These are the three rates currently at which our goods are falling. So our whenever in any goods or services you are dealing with, it might fall under these three categories. It will fall actually in these three categories. In most of the goods or services, they fall under standard VAT of 20%. Few exceptions we have which fall in 5%, and only very few cases where we have zero rated VAT. Okay, so zero rated VAT is normally being applicable whenever we are selling our goods or services to outside the UK territories, then the 0% VAT rate is being applicable. Okay, so whenever you are selling locally to the customer, then it either falls under 20% or at the reduced VAT rate of 5%. It can fall in 0%, but these are the exempt goods or services where there is no requirement to get charged any VAT. There is no requirement to collect VAT on those goods. But that is list is very is exhaustive list. Only those goods and services fall in that category. Rest or either fall in 20% or 5%. But if you are selling goods outside the territory of UK, then there is no requirement to pay any VAT. Only the VAT rate would be zero rated VAT rate would be applicable in those scenarios only. So I hope you like our video, and this is just an introductory video, just to give you a fair idea that how VAT is actually being covered. I will not say that we have covered all the basic concepts, but this is just a beginning. This is just to give you a start of just whenever we are starting any concept, we first need to create a base of that concept. We need to create a foundation of that. So this is just a part of the foundation. Still we have not covered all the topics to build a strong foundation. So please do expect the certain videos on upcoming videos on the VAT concept, where we would be discussing more or much in detail about those concepts. So if you like whatever topic which we are discussing in this video, all those content which we are discussing, you can find all those articles in our website, that is taxationinsight.com. You can visit the website and find much in detail, because the presentation which we are discussing in this video, that have a very less content, and that is very short, I would say. So if you want to have a content much in detail, then you can find those articles on our website. So we do have the detailed article on how VAT actually work, and it is posted on our website. So what I'll do, I'll share a link in the description column, and you can from there you can refer that article in detail. And if you have any questions or you have any doubts, please feel free to email us at info at taxationinsight.com. And if you also like to if you also want this PPT as well, you can also mail us on this website. We'll certainly share with you at free of cost. So do follow us on the Facebook and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay updated and to get the updated videos on the various tax topics. So thank you for watching.